Hello, I'm David Moore, a retired high school German and math teacher. When I was 12, I was in southern Michigan on my way to visit my grandmother for the afternoon. As I was crossing the street, I was hit by a car. The front license plate struck my left leg and ripped it open at the knee, causing significant vascular damage. Since then, I have had chronic lymphedema, with several surgeons agreeing that they can't repair my leg effectively with surgery. As a result of the accident, I received enough money to afford to travel to Germany in mid-June 1985. We knew about the Chernobyl nuclear reactor disaster and that the reactor had been shut down and was a dangerous situation for Ukraine and the Soviet Union. We were warned not to eat the meat and drink too much milk while we were there. During the trip, our group traveled through southern Germany and into Austria, and little did we realize then that radioactive cesium was mixed with rain that we encountered on several days during our trip. By the time I turned 21, I was diagnosed with asthma and needed an inhaler for emergencies, which I still must always keep on hand. In 2007, while traveling home from a vacation in Quebec, our family had to stop in Nashua, New Hampshire to visit other relatives. We were there only a few hours when I was rushed to the hospital. I was running a fever, vomiting, and my chronically swollen leg required immediate medical attention. I could barely walk on it. I had cellulitis and a septic infection which spread rapidly through my body. The doctors at the hospital alerted me to an incidental finding from CT scans, which indicated swollen lymph nodes in my mediastinum. It's right about here. I followed up with my asthma specialist, who ran subsequent tests, only to find out that the swollen lymph nodes were larger than the previous scan. The specialist ordered a biopsy and determined that I had thyroid cancer. In September 2008, I had a total thyroidectomy and had 9 lymph nodes removed. All 9 lymph nodes and my thyroid tested positive for tall cell variant papillary thyroid cancer. While my strain of cancer is rarely lethal, it did lead to needing to take off a semester from my teaching position. As part of my treatment, I underwent 2 rounds of radioactive iodine therapy, which required me to remain in isolation for a full week per treatment. The therapy proved successful at first, but by October 2010, routine ultrasound scans of my neck, along with elevated thyroglobulin levels, indicated that the cancer had metastasized and spread back into the mediastinum, right about here. A surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic performed a radical neck dissection, removed my parathyroid, dissected it, and placed it back into my left shoulder. I had to undergo a 3rd round of radioactive iodine to assure that any remaining cancer cells were killed. I continued to be seen at the Cleveland Clinic through 2017, during which time I underwent testing on my immune system. Doctors diagnosed me with chronic variable immune deficiency, most likely caused by excessive exposure to radiation. From 2008 through 2018, I had medical insurance through my employer, and I was able to get my prescriptions and medical procedures covered with minimal out-of-pocket expenses. However, after having numerous heart palpitations, I retired from that teaching position and applied for Social Security disability. The immune system treatments I had received at the Cleveland Clinic were administered intravenously and required a nurse to be on hand in case I had any complications. The medication I took at the time was GammaGuard. However, upon consultation with my new asthma and immune specialist, I decided to switch from GammaGuard once per month at the hospital to Zembify. My physician assured me that I could administer the infusions simply by following the procedures in which I poked myself in the abdomen with fine needles connected to tubing and ultimately to an infusion pump. I was able to take Zembify at home. I didn't have to travel to the hospital anymore. My sole source of income in 2021 was money I received from my pension as a teacher and Social Security disability. I wasn't able to work. By March 2024, the Zembify shipment stopped coming. At a cost of $52,000 per month, I could not possibly afford them out of pocket, nor did I qualify for Medicaid on top of the Medicare coverage I once had. The Medicare didn't go away, the Medicaid did. I have gone without protection for my immune system ever since. My story does not end here. In July 2019, on the way to a baseball game in Erie, my wife, daughter, and I were in a car accident. Now, we will say this much. We were not seriously injured. My wife's test results, however, came back with an incidental finding of a lump in her abdomen that she had not noticed before. After further testing, my wife was diagnosed with pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer. She had a tumor the size of a navel orange removed, along with half her pancreas and her entire spleen. She's been on disability since 2021. The money she gained from Social Security, from back payments, was enough for us to purchase the first and only home we have ever owned. Over time, as our Social Security disability payments increased, we became ineligible for Medicaid. And while she can continue receiving insulin for her diabetes, which was ultimately diagnosed, I am unable to get the Zembify I need for my immune system. We are calling on our state and federal politicians to understand that both my wife and I worked hard our entire lives as teachers. We are both volunteers for multiple nonprofit organizations, even though we remain disabled. We are both dedicated to making our local community and Pennsylvania a better place to live. But further cuts to Medicaid and Medicare will only put our lives at greater risk of complete financial collapse. I am sharing this information to dispel any myths that people who receive Medicare and Medicaid are freeloaders. We both paid into the system for decades. While our two older sons have moved on with their own lives and careers, our daughter is still in college. Further cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security mean we must make difficult decisions, such as whether to pay for food or our medications. We need both for survival. If you were in our position, what would you do?